Are there healthy foods out there that taste good? Now, I'm not talking just taste good to those healthy food vegetarian people who only eat healthy foods and they've trained their taste buds to only taste specific foods that are barely good tasting and make them taste really good. I'm talking actually good tasting for the people out there who like fast food, or the people out there who just they only eat unhealthy foods and that's what they're used to. They enjoy unhealthy foods that taste really, really good. Can we ever merge the two mediums? I think so. I definitely think so. And before I get to examples of foods, I think the one thing I want to say is that this is a huge misconception out there. I think everyone has it. Everybody. I think it's just because it's so much easier to just get unhealthy food, and a lot of people don't care about their health, or they just can't resist. And there's a lot of fast food out there, and restaurant food, and food you can easily buy that's just designed to be not healthy. And so I definitely think this is something that can be changed. And there's this huge misconception out there, and to a certain degree, it's true because um, of just ease. It's much easier to just create foods that are unhealthy that taste really good. And I feel like everyone I've asked, everyone I've talked to, the general population thinks healthy foods taste really bad and all unhealthy foods taste really good, and then there's no medium, and you pretty much have to sacrifice either or. And I think this belief will really set you back in life, and it really almost makes you believe I either have to sacrifice my love for food or I'm going to have to just be unhealthy for the rest of my life. And I think it's so true, and this huge disparity is just ridiculous. I want to give you a great example of foods out there that are healthy and great tasting. Um, there's this show called Rehab TV. It's on YouTube. It's a online show, and this was aired about a couple years ago. So it's kind of old, but it looks brand new. The production is pretty darn well done. And basically, the whole concept behind the show, and it never got that much coverage, um, it's about these two chefs that are battling it out, and usually their goal is to make over a recipe. Something that usually is very unhealthy, that's completely delicious, but very unhealthy. And they make it over into something that is the same thing, whatever the meal is, but it tastes really great, and it's very, very healthy. So they're judged on three variables: how healthy it is, score of 1 out of 10, how good tasting it is, 1 out of 10, and the last one is ease of creating it. And I think that's probably the next biggest excuse that's out there. It's like, well, sure, you can make it healthy, but it often requires all sorts of ingredients and all this knowledge that only a gourmet chef knows. And I mean, I don't have the time to make all this stuff, and it costs too much. And these are great variables to use, and you'll find that this show really just demonstrates how you can get close to 10 out of 10 in each category. And the gourmet chefs that compete, they really just uh, solve the problem for you. They come up with how to make these foods, and it's just astounding. They make mac and cheese, right? So they make mac and cheese into this exceptionally healthy version of mac and cheese. And this version of mac and cheese, it tastes just as great, if not better, and yet they're using all sorts of healthy ingredients. So they put in butternuts, squash, and then cauliflower, and unsweetened almond milk, and all sorts of weird ingredients. And somehow they put it all together, and boom, come out with this ridiculously amazing uh, version of mac and cheese. And I think you're probably thinking, uh, it can't be right. They're probably just saying it tastes great when it doesn't. And here's the kicker: the show, as a judge of taste, they use average day consumers, um, average day family people. And I mean, you can go on and on about excuses or da 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 da, but they actually show you how to make the recipe if you want to just like try it out yourself. And I think it's one of those things that's very amazing. Obviously, there is some level of disconnect. 9 times out of 10, you don't have the knowledge of these gourmet chefs to recreate or remodel a dish like cheeseburgers or mac and cheese, um, into something that's so great. But with these chefs, they do it for you, and with the internet, you can find it. And the modern day society, they're not going to do that for you. They just want you to go to McDonald's and eat deep fried French fries and get overweight. I mean, it's one of those things. And I mean, this show just really just blows your mind. And I am very much, I've renewed my faith for it. And I used to think in the same way. And obviously, there's a lot of levels of medium in there. And it's interesting because I do know people who have literally just convinced themselves and just given up on food, and they only eat healthy foods, and they just suck it up and eat it. And you can tell that it's very sort of I guess you can call it Mother Teresa restrictionist sort of lifestyle, where they're just like, no good tasting foods are healthy. And I don't think that's true. I definitely don't think it's true. And I've been researching it, and the more I research it, the more faith and hope and just belief I have that there can be a way. And there's another thing where I saw this video with this fitness expert, and basically what he did was he had this chicken and spinach, and he basically said how he had spent years just sucking it up and eating it. And this is a man with a channel with millions of subscribers. The channel is called Six Pack Shortcuts. And then he goes on to say, hey, I finally figured out a way to make this healthy and still taste good. For years I've just been sucking it up and eating this dry chicken, but I found if you put in this coconut oil, it doesn't add much unhealthiness, but at the same time it still tastes great. It adds texture, it adds buttery flavor, and it's amazing. And I think it's what I find most amazing is how innovative you can make food. There's so many ingredients out there, hundreds of thousands, and it's just very interesting how these chefs have done it. Like really, I'm going to leave a link in the description. Check out Rehab TV. It's just very amazing. I just stumbled across this channel, and it's just like, it's amazing. I'm going to leave a link to the macaroni and cheese episode, and literally you'll see these chefs, and basically the whole premise of it is, in this episode, is that there's this average day family, and it's actual family, and they're very unhealthy, and they want to change that. And what they've been eating for years is this 4-cheese macaroni recipe that's loaded with all sorts of fats and stuff. And they went about it, and they restructured and remodeled this recipe, and they did a makeover of it, and literally like all they used were all sorts of bizarre yet healthy ingredients. Butternut squash, cauliflower, all sorts of weird stuff, and yet they somehow came out with some sort of substitute cheese that looked and tasted and was just as good as the original recipe. It's very much amazing, and my faith in this is restored. So check it out. I can go on and on about this sort of thing, but I really think this is something big, and I hope you guys check it out. And yeah, I'm very much excited about this, and I'm going to do much more research on this myself, and maybe even try out a few of those recipes. All those excuses I bring up and more still prop up, like lack of money, it's too hard to make, too many ingredients, too many steps, or hard to obtain the ingredients, or it won't taste good, or something or other. But my hope is not dead yet, and it's interesting because each time I ask someone who's very good at making foods, can you make foods that are healthy and still taste good? They'll say yes, and my faith is restored. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. See you guys later.